Hello everyone, we are from Group 1, 5C English Education Department. And in this opportunity, we will present the results of the second journal with summarized entitled English Teaching in Social and Cultural Contexts, Language Teachers as Cultural Managers. Before that, let me introduce myself. My name is Felicia Ronauli Lumban Gaol as the first speaker. Language is a part of cultural element and it is intrigued in the culture of its indigenous people. Understanding a language native people speak, such as English, means absorbing, adapting, imitating, and following the native culture. We may call it as learning a foreign language. In Indonesia, we are comprehensively intrigued sometimes to learn English or even other countries' languages for many reasons. One reason may be because English becomes a very life-determined language, or in other words, mastering English can be powerful in life. It is supported by how frequent English is used today. For instance, the major parameters for determining the education standard and job vacancies are mostly from the English language scores. However, the writers of the article indicated that the international functions of the English language is in a class with the national roles of Indonesian language, because the overemphasis of English language learning can harm the existence of national language, which is Indonesian language. The writer's opinion is supported by the number of studies. One of it is the trans issue of EFL, local culture or the language, and national citizenship that put the English language teachers in dilemma. Therefore, the journal article is designed as English teaching in social and cultural contexts, language teachers as cultural managers, which has a purpose to synergize the perspective of English language learning necessity and local culture preservation needs. In the introduction section, the writers also given how the discussion is emphasized. It is aggravated on investigating EFL teachers' involvements and efforts in suffusing local culture content in their EFL teaching. It is also said that the discussion is inspected through their life experiences as English language teachers that teach English at different educational levels, junior, senior, and higher education. As sources of the data, the writers' three teachers reflected to the daily teaching practices in the learning process to scrutinize teachers' thinking and perform self-assessed teaching evaluation. Kuswandono 2012. Not only that, writers also put the previous studies relating to the battling perspectives on the foreign and national language roles. The infusion of local culture into English language teaching and teachers' roles in language and culture learning to support the key notion. The writers of this study adopted a qualitative epistemological stand and methods that is inherent with the journal article's research problems and objectives. It is said that the objective of the study is to probe teachers' efforts. In this context, the writers themselves in interpolating local Indonesian national culture in EFL teaching. Its analysis has a gap for the further study to be researched. The writers only analyze the diverse in teaching roles and local culture immersion strategy. Therefore, the data are collected from the writers' experiences during their teaching practices with the help of co-creation of reflection framework or the tool of guarantee data richness. It contains the identification of local cultural issues and teachers' perspectives. Thus, the data are organized into several themes and categorized by the writers. That's all from me. Thank you so much.
Based on the researchers' conducted by the writers, there are several things to be jotted down. First is vision creators. It was said by the writers that the teachers' teaching behaviors in the classroom are impressed by their own values and perceptions. Teachers should use local culture in their teaching based on the different needs and characteristics of their students. In relation to this, teachers' teaching perspective and visions is said to have big impact, which is shaping teachers' behavior and approaches toward cultural learning. Its validity is shown by the data that emphasize teachers' perspective on local cultural learning. It shows that teachers believe to the productions or implications of the local culture in their EFL teaching for some kind of different purposes. For elementary and secondary students, teachers prefer to insert local culture for growing children's cultural values and characters. They opine that children should be guided to know their own culture and appreciate the culture at young age. Hence why local culture learning should be stayed at learners' young age. They also suggested to introduce Indonesian traditional vocatives such as Maling Kundang and Tangkuban Parahu because it can promote young learners' local culture learning specifically for moral character building. The EFL teachers also given an emphasis that learning local culture is also mandatory for higher education students. Not only for the children at younger age, it is revealed that it is revealed by them that local culture learning at higher education can help the students identify the ethnical behavior from non-ethnical, demonstrate pro-society norm behavior, and developing students' critical thinking. Not only for that, students in higher education may be directed to cultural sense of care, pride, and national identity of they learn local culture learning. They are expected to be part of the global community, that's why they may need to adopt an international cultural while maintaining their own cultural identity. At this age, intercultural communicative competence is essential, starting from learning, starting from learning and understanding foreign culture, but still having sense of awareness to their own national identity is the right move to teach the higher education for students.
Local cultural mediators. Alright, so this finding focuses on the roles of local national EFL teachers that can be valuable EFL assets since they may understand the local culture decently. The local national EFL teachers obviously are experts that they may have root knowledge on which values should be heightened and which values should not be taught. The validity of the data is shown by the answers of the teachers' local culture teaching management. Thus, the roles of EFL teachers are identified into 5 roles as follows. The first one is teacher as screener or filters. Teachers tend to select which cultural elements they should teach to fit into a certain situation. It can be influenced by some aspects, including teacher's background, institution values, and then consideration of local national situation and learner aspects such as interest, level of education, and motivation. The teachers also mentioned some of cultural values that can be taught in the classroom, such as religious tradition and customs. In Indonesia, we also have gotong royong, mutual respect, tolerance, other people respect, politeness, and prideful sense of their own local culture. The second one is teacher as material designer or enhancer. Teachers design the material and improve the available or existing contents. For instance, linked textbook to local culture and create some text or questions ensuring students' understandings and create materials by feeding them to the local values and wisdom. The third one is teacher as activities designer. Teachers do not only create or enhance materials but also setting relevant activities for students. For example, in this context, fitting perceived cultural learning needs or interest materials and activities. Teachers then can ensure the coherence of their teaching practices according to M.Hum in 2006. The fourth rules is teacher as identifiers of cultural learning obstacles and potential problem solvers. Teachers identified several barriers in the learning, including the local cultural learning. In this case, the writers or the teachers themselves shows the data that support this point. It is informed that EFL teachers face huge challenges in teaching local culture. The last one is natural observer. Teacher as natural observer. Teachers adapt their material to a certain condition such as institution or schools, learners, and environments. They can also observe social cultural issues emerging from student-peer interaction.
Multicultural educators. Among the EFL teachers, the third teacher faces the challenge of managing a large number of students from different cultural backgrounds that makes them difficult to even adjust the material in local cultural learning. It is validated by their answer of the students' youth and multiculturalism. The third teacher is aware of the diverse cultural background, hence why the teacher should fulfill their roles as multicultural class manager by managing students, critical thinking, managing cultural fanaticism, and managing cross-cultural awareness and tolerance. The data shown in this stage indicates the EFL teachers may struggle with several cultural sensitive issues during their teaching practice: magnetism, race, gender, or social inequality. Thus, multicultural teaching skills may be required to accommodate learners from different cultural backgrounds. Role model. Teachers can demonstrate and guide students to practice the culture in their daily interaction by teaching local culture. There are several guides that the teacher used to encourage students, lead students to pray together, read, kiss older people's hands as appreciation, and respect the teacher. It nurtures the students' sense of being together, being polite, and respecting other people. To conclude, the study officially proposes the findings. The first is it suggests that today's EFL teachers are not accountable for evolving EFL learners' linguistic competence, but also evolving learners' local culture awareness and multicultural or cross-cultural understanding and tolerance. The second is a claim that the FL teachers are in charge to promote, maintain, and revive local national culture by using English as the medium or instructional language. Certainly, the study suggests that the permitted local culture, the EFL's teacher fulfill and navigate through different interconnected roles of teaching vision builders, local culture mediators, multicultural educators, and behavioral models or practitioners. Fourthly, it is advised that the FL teacher that improve their local cultural responsive pedagogy, vision, cultural sensitivity, and awareness, both the English language non-English collaborative discipline, and understand learners' social cultural world and leverage the roles of technology and information to support teaching. The fifth it is proposed that the reflection of cultural experience can offer new insight for the EFL teacher for designing and managing cultural activities in the English classroom. I think enough the explanation from us. If we have a mistaken, we apologize. Thanks for your attention and wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.